Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Mili reaction. Today we have Boys in Kaleidosphere as requested by Luca Urushibara in the comments of the last video. And they said that these might be the same boys, but somebody else disagreed. But either way, it's a short but apparently sweet song, so I'm here for that. It's a pretty short recording day for me anyway, so it'll be nice to have a quick one to get to. And without further ado, let's go!
Hydrangeas are calling my name, bring me to a garden.
Oh, wait. Kinda got a medieval thing going on?
With a feeling I've never known. Staring into my head, your eyes are like a kaleidoscope.
And now we're switching the beat.
This pounding in my heart feels
They like switched to the upbeat there.
Let's escape to somewhere.
And now we're back.
Be ourselves again. Where
What were they on with the drums in this one?
it's not only for queens and kings.
Got like
Come
really
here,
low
we
bass in there too.
You hurried and took
And
my
this synth here.
opened up
Oh.
their mouths, muttering words I don't understand. They bit and slashed to open, cut off your legs, your arms, your hands.
Yep.
This confusing sight feels like a kaleidoscope.
I feel like I shouldn't be surprised with Mili at this point, really. But I am. God, what was their drummer on? Okay, just laying on the ride cymbal. There. Love this section. This sounds so cool. And that's where they end it. The dynamics on that last refrain were super interesting too. Like, I always say it's interesting because it is. But like, with that one, she had like just a little bit more of like an attitude going into it. Like, what the fuck? This is so cool. They are so good all the time. Again, I shouldn't be surprised, but I am for some reason. All right, so admittedly, when I was listening to this song, I was focusing more on the interesting stuff that was going on with the instruments themselves. But the lyrics, reading those afterwards and just, you know, rechecking the things I had thought I had heard, it made me take on a different opinion of what the song was because I didn't catch some very key details that clued you in to more of what the context would be. So while I'll be getting into the music theory stuff and what the song is about, let's start with the point of the lyrics. And from what I could put together, it's about a gay relationship, which is kind of intriguing. I didn't know what was going to happen when I started realizing that, or like how the story was going to play out. As I was reading through, I was like, oh shit, they're in love. Oh no. Because like whenever love happens in a Mili song, never turns out well. It didn't. Spoilers. But basically, the interesting part about this is a few of the details that are interwoven into the lyrics, like the mention of hydrangeas and like the bring me to the garden of hydrangeas. Hydrangeas in the language of flowers are about togetherness and being like one and just like that sense of gathering. So that is a very big brain move from Cassie to include that in the lyrics because that's what it would be. Maybe not about love specifically, but about finding who you are and a community of sorts that can accept you. And in this case, it might just be the two people, but it's still that essence of feeling together. And in that, they find each other and there's that relationship starting to brew. And I think that's it's a beautiful way to phrase that, honestly, instead of just leaning into, oh, they immediately fell in love. Well, there's more of like the sense of community that comes with it and this camaraderie in realizing that they are going this direction rather than just suddenly falling in love, because like the love at first sight thing in songs kind of tired, you know, like it happens all the time. So having something that takes a more generalized approach is something I really appreciate. And then the song starts to get a little bit more dark, as it tends to do with Mili, and I believe the mention of Jabberwocks in here was kind of interesting too, because if you don't know, I love Alice in Wonderland. It's something that I haven't really talked about much, but I love Alice in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass. Like that whole story, Lewis Carroll is a fucking beast in the writing department. And it's like, okay, why is that important then? Well, the specific mention of the Jabberwocks tearing them apart, like biting and ripping the one character apart, the one that the main character, the singer, fell in love with, is being ripped to shreds. And I believe that that is supposed to represent, you know, people that are saying like, you should not be together, and literally lynching, maybe literally, maybe just figuratively. But by the way it works out, I'm assuming it's literal in this case. But like lynching this person and just tearing them apart because that's not allowed, you know? Just like I feel like I might be putting my own biases into this by saying that, but I feel like that's where they're going with it. I feel like that's what the lyrics are supposed to represent, a relationship that a community, in this case, is not okay with, so they start to come at them. Usually it would be one Jabberwocky, but multiple Jabberwocks is a completely different and specific mention from these lyrics, so there are multiple bodies coming after them. And that's terrifying. And in that gruesome detail, we're getting all of this mention of what's happening, but also the fact that all this is kaleidoscope. Constantly that is mentioned. I didn't say that earlier because I was going to mention it here. They're mentioning it feels like kaleidoscope, this innate confusion that comes with not only the realization that you might like somebody of the same gender, but also the confusion when the rest of humanity seemingly doesn't like that. And you can't process why that would be a problem. It's confusing, just like a kaleidoscope is kind of designed to be. There might be an innate beauty sometimes in a kaleidoscope, but at its core, a kaleidoscope is a confusing mess of shapes, colors, what have you, that really is nonsensical, but there's a pattern to it. So you can look at that even deeper as far as the relationship goes, or the systematic fear of a same-sex couple, you know, like there's so much of that in there. And of course, I find that entirely purposeful by Cassie. Again, great lyricism on that. And the mention of, if we were born again, I wish we weren't human, because they're feeling like they're at fault. They're the weird ones. They're different. Maybe they wish that this wasn't upon themselves anymore, and either they could be a different thing that allowed for their sort of love, or that they weren't different and had to run away in fear of that, and decided to stay as far away from it, even in the potential of being reborn. And that's what I really love about the story in this song, is that it's very poetic. Obviously, it's Cassie. She handles poetic lyrics like fucking none other. She's amazing at it. But it's the specific references of things like hydrangeas and the Jabberwocks that makes it go, oh, she put like a lot of different thoughts into this. Like, instead of just saying outright what things were going to be happening or the direct reason as to why, she put things into a more obscure lens of things like Jabberwocks, something that's in a dream world that doesn't technically exist, but for some reason is this terrifying nonsensical power that everyone is afraid of, but nobody knows entirely why, other than it has the power to take you over and do whatever it wants to do, kill you, etc. It's this nonsensical being that you can beat, maybe, theoretically. It's fucking Wonderland. You don't know, you know? Like, there's so many things that could go, like the Vorpal sword, I think, is the only thing that can actually kill a Jabberwock. So it's like, where would that place in this song's lore? Irrelevant, just a nerd question from a guy who likes the series. Either way though, the music on this song is the other reason this is really cool. I love the like medieval sort of flair it has. It kind of dates it back a little bit and makes you really feel like this song was happening at a time before that would have been okay. Something where they would have had this negative opinion on it. Some sort of medieval time period where that sort of thing obviously wasn't allowed, and in that there's more confusion, but also the random switch ups of like the happier upbeat, the up rhythm in this song compared to the verses that are explaining everything. And it's like, there's so much detail that they put into these songs, and this one's under 2 minutes and there's so much detail in this song. But at the risk of me getting into that too much, I'm going to get into the music theory stuff here. So this song, I believe, is an F sharp minor, which, I mean, kind of just sticks between F sharp minor and E for a part of it. But it doesn't really use F sharp minor all that much, to be honest with you. It seems to be more C sharp minor, because C sharp minor is kind of where the movement happens. We have the C sharp minor, an A, I believe a B minor. It could be a B, but B minor is in the key of F sharp minor. So I'm assuming that it's B minor here, but then it just kind of bounces between those, like, and we have this move up, and we also have D and E, before it goes up into that. And in that, honestly, we have most of the song. There's not too much going on with this track aside from the general complexities of the way it's written. But again, that kind of more falls in the percussive switch ups, the general rhythm kind of bouncing back and forth. But for the most part, we have these chords that are played throughout that are pretty consistent and not much else in the end of variety here. So we just kind of play around with those in various patterns. Is how it ends. And I'm pretty sure that's actually a perfect fourth relationship with how that plays out there at the end, but that's just due to the essence of what this song was trying to do with the design of it being kind of medieval. They love to use their perfect fourths in that time period especially, so having that in there is kind of what gives the song its feel as a whole, but that's really it. I think the story of this one is definitely more what was going on with this song given how short it was. They packed a lot of information into that many, or rather that few lyrics, and then the instruments were similarly just kind of simplified, but the melody was kind of what was carrying everything along and telling you this story without getting too complex or too crazy, adding too many different things going on there. You just need to keep things simple. That's one of Mili's best traits. They keep things simple enough to keep their story up front instead of losing it below all of the other musical potential that they do have, and they do use sometimes, but when they want to tell a story, they make sure that they tell their story instead of just going off some random tangent like I do all the time when I yap about these songs. But I have yapped enough, like I said, so thank you all so very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want me to get to something else from Mili, by all means, drop in the comments below and I will do my best as always to get to those. Or if you don't want to do any of that, maybe just want to follow me and support me for more stuff coming in the future, you know how to do all that, and I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!